Good morning, dear children. Today we are going to begin a new chapter in Civics, and this is a last chapter in your Civics portion. Chapter number 6, Directive Principles of State and Fundamental Duties. In this chapter, we are going to see that what are the directive principles and how they are important in the Constitution. We have seen fundamental rights and we have seen what are duties in short. But these states' policies are flexible as per the requirement. Certain changes can be made in these policies. So let's begin with the chapter and let's see that which all are the points in we are going to cover and see in this chapter. So students, in this video we are going to see where were the directive included in the Constitution and some important directive principles of state policy and fundamental duties. In the last two chapters, we studied the fundamental rights guaranteed by our Constitution. Yes, we are right. We learned what rights Indian citizens enjoy. We also learned that our rights have judicial protection. Yes, students, we have various rights and we have protection from judiciary. We understood the importance of fundamental rights in our individual and public lives. With this background, we shall now understand what the directive principles of state policy are. Fundamental rights put restrictions on the power of the government. A few such restrictions upon the states are listed below. Number 1. States shall not discriminate between and among citizens on the basis of caste, religion, race, language or sex, which means जो स्टेट है वो डिस्क्रिमिनेट करना यानी भेदभाव नहीं कर सकता है कास्ट को लेकर, रिलीजन को लेकर. नाउ नेक्स्ट, स्टेट shall not deny anybody equality before the law and equal protection of the law. Number 3, no person shall be deprived of his life. Number 4, state shall not impose any religious taxes. जैसा हमने फंडामेंटल राइट्स पार्ट 2 में भी पढ़ा था, जो स्टेट ने रिलीजियस पे टैक्स को क्या किया है, इम्पोज किया है, यानी कि मना है, हम रिलीजन पे कोई भी टैक्स पे नहीं करते. The Constitution has given express instructions to the state about what policies it should undertake. This is in the nature of giving directives or guidelines about how to achieve the goals expressed in the preamble. Hence, they are called as directive principles of the state policy. Why were the directives included? मतलब डायरेक्टिव्स जो भी है वो मतलब कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में क्यों इंक्लूडेड किया है? बिकॉज व्हेन इंडिया वॉन इंडिपेंडेंस वी फेस्ड अ ग्रेट चैलेंज ऑफ एस्टेब्लिशिंग ऑर्डर एंड कैरिंग आउट स्मूथ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, इरेडिकेशन ऑफ पॉवर्टी, backwardness and illiteracy had to be urgently pursued. The task of nation building had to be undertaken. For this, new policies had to be drawn up, which means जब इंडिया को ब्रिटिश के उससे आज़ादी मिली तो हमारे इंडिया ने बहुत सारे चैलेंज को फेस किया. उसमें से क्या था? पॉवर्टी को हटाना था और एक स्मूथ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन चलाना था. सो इसकी वजह से नई नई पॉलिसीज़ को क्या किया गया? लाया गया. And their implementation had to be undertaken. The goal of people's welfare had to be achieved. In short, India had to be transformed into a developed and progressive nation. In short मतलब इंडिया को क्या करना था? अपने आप को ट्रांसफॉर्म्ड करना था प्रोग्रेसिव नेशन के लिए. The Constitution has specified the subjects to which the union and state governments should give priority in their policies for people's welfare through the directive principle of state policy. Each directive contains a subject for the state policy. The makers of the Indian Constitution had realized that it would require a lot of resources if all these policies were to be implemented at the same time. That is the reason why they did not make the directives binding upon the state like the fundamental rights. They expected that states should implement them slowly and steadily. Some important directive principles of state policy. The state should secure adequate means of livelihood to all citizens without any gender discrimination. The state should secure equal pay for equal work for both men and women. The state should secure the improvement of public health. The state shall endure to protect and improve the environment and safeguard the forests and wildlife of the country. The state shall protect all monuments of historic interest and national importance. The state shall promote with special care the educational and economic interest of the weaker section of the people, especially the scheduled caste and tribe caste. विच मीन्स जो स्टेट डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल में कौन कौन सी पॉलिसीज दी गई है, विच मीन्स कि स्टेट को क्या करना चाहिए, कोई भी सिटीज़न के बीच में जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं करना चाहिए कि ये औरत है या आदमी है, और आदमी है तो हम इसको ज़्यादा पे करेंगे, औरत है तो इसको हम कम पे करेंगे, ऐसा जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं करना चाहिए. और पब्लिक की हेल्थ का ख्याल रखना चाहिए, इम्प्रूवमेंट के लिए नई नई पॉलिसीज़ निकालना चाहिए. फॉरेस्ट और जो वाइल्ड लाइफ है उनका भी स्टेट को क्या करना है, ध्यान रखना चाहिए. और जो भी हमारे इम्पॉर्टेंट मॉन्यूमेंट्स है जैसे ताजमहल हो गया, कुतुब मीनार हो गए, जो हिस्टोरिकल मॉन्यूमेंट्स है उनको हमको प्रिजर्व करके रखना चाहिए, क्योंकि वो हमारे नेशन का क्या है, एक नेशनल हेरिटेज है. एंड जो वीकर एजुकेशन से रिलेटेड क्या है, जो वीकर सेक्शन है, जैसे कि आप लोगों ने देखा होगा, वीकर सेक्शन के लिए अपने स्टेट ने क्या बनाए हैं, म्यूनसिपल स्कूल्स बनाए ताकि वो लोग भी एटलीस्ट प्राइमरी एजुकेशन ले सके. तो इस स्टेट को ये सब पॉलिसीज़ को क्या करना चाहिए, ध्यान में रखना चाहिए. नाउ नेक्स्ट इज द स्टेट शेल ऑफर पब्लिक असिस्टेंस टू सिटीजन्स इन केसेस ऑफ अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, old age, sickness, etc. The state shall secure a uniform civil code applicable to the entire country. Directive principles of state policy and fundamental rights are two sides of the same coin. Due to fundamental rights, citizens get the most needed liberty. मतलब फंडामेंटल राइट्स की वजह से सिटीजन्स को हर चीज़ की लिबर्टी है. He can choose any profession, any religion and any caste also. जैसा कि हमने फंडामेंटल राइट्स पार्ट 1 एंड पार्ट 2 में पढ़ा कि हमें हर चीज़ की आज़ादी है. अगर हमारे साथ कोई एक्सप्लॉयटेशन कर रहा है हम उसके खिलाफ लड़ सकते हैं, और उसके लिए गवर्नमेंट ने हमको क्या दी है, आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हैज़ गिवन अ राइट टू फाइट अगेंस्ट किसी भी इलीगल तरीके से अगर कोई हमको अरेस्ट करता है वो सबके अगेंस्ट हम क्या कर सकते हैं, फाइट बैक कर सकते हैं. While directive principles of state policy create an atmosphere conducive to the growth of democracy, even though we cannot go to the courts if a directive is not implemented by the government, we can put pressure on the government in various ways to make a policy in order to meet these goals. Which means अगर हम लोग डायरेक्टली कोर्ट में नहीं कर सकते हैं कंप्लेन, तो हमको गवर्नमेंट ने ऐसी बहुत सारे वेज बताए हैं जो हम जिससे हमारे गोल्स क्या हो जाएंगे, कंप्लीट हो जाएंगे. ओके स्टूडेंट्स, नाउ लेट्स सी सम फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज. In a democracy, citizens have a dual responsibility. Dual means double. मतलब अगर हम डेमोक्रेसी कंट्री में रह रहे हैं तो सिटीजन्स की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी क्या हो जाती है, डबल हो जाती है. दे शुड नॉट ओनली बी अ vigilant that their rights are not unfairly restricted but should also fulfill some duties and responsibilities. The Constitution has made several provisions through the fundamental rights and the directive principles of the state policy for the people's welfare. The benefits of the various schemes of the government cannot reach all the people if they do not fulfill their fundamental duties. For example, one example has given in your textbook. The government has implemented several projects under its Swachh Bharat scheme, but people too need to change their habits that make public place dirty. अभी आप जैसे कि आपने देखा ही होगा, जैसे गवर्नमेंट ने क्या रूल बनाई है कि कोई भी पब्लिक प्लेस पे स्पिटिंग नहीं करना है, थूकना नहीं है, तो ये हमारी ड्यूटीज क्या हो जाती है कि हम वहाँ पर ना करें. मगर बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे होते हैं जो ये सब रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस को फॉलो नहीं करते और जो प्लेसेस पब्लिक प्लेसेस है उनको क्या कर देते हैं, डर्टी. इन ऑर्डर दैट द इंडियन सिटीजन्स बिकम कॉन्शियस ऑफ देयर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज, fundamental duties were included in the Constitution. The fundamental duties of the Indian citizens are as follow. कौन कौन सी fundamental duties है वो हम यहाँ पर देखेंगे. Number 1, to abide by the Constitution and respect the national flag and the national anthem, which means अगर national anthem हो रहा है तो सिटीजन की क्या ड्यूटी होगी, हम उसका क्या करें, रिस्पेक्ट करें. एंड फ्लैग के टाइम पे भी हम क्या करें, उसकी रिस्पेक्ट करें. टू चेरिश एंड फॉलो द नोबल आइडियाज विच इंस्पायर्ड आवर नेशनल स्ट्रगल फॉर फ्रीडम. टू अपहोल्ड एंड प्रोटेक्ट द सोवेरेनिटी, यूनिटी एंड इंटीग्रिटी ऑफ इंडिया. टू डिफेंड द कंट्री एंड द रेंडर नेशनल सर्विस व्हेन कॉल्ड अपॉन टू डू सो. To promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood, transcending diversities, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture, to protect and improve the natural environment and have to compassion for living creatures. Next, to develop the scientific temper, humanism and spirit of inquiry and reforms. To safeguard public property and to abjure violence. To strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activities so that the nation constantly rises to higher level of endeavor and achievement. Every citizen of India who is a parent or guardian should provide opportunities of education to his or her child or ward between the age of 6 and 14 years. Now students, look on the screen which I have shared you and tell me which of the fundamental duties are not being followed in the situations above. A boy scribbling on a historical structure. As you can see in the picture, a boy who is scribbling on a historical structure. Here, which duties being not followed, क्या नहीं फॉलो किया जा रहा है कि हमको जो ड्यूटी दी गई कि हमको क्या करना है, हिस्टोरिकल जो भी प्लेसेस है उनको प्रिजर्व करना है, उनको क्लीन रखना है. बट हियर वी कैन सी दैट a boy scribbling on a historical structure. Now next is hanging lemon and chilies. Here we can see that old evil practices have been followed and we have to develop the scientific temper, humanism and spirit of inquiry and reforms. Now next is damaging a public bus. Here you can see a man who are damaging a public property. Now next is a woman emptying a garbage can on the street. आप देख सकते हो कि एक वुमेन है, वो क्या कर रही है, जितना भी गार्बेज है वो स्ट्रीट पे क्या कर रही है, खाली कर रही है, जिसकी वजह से ये सब हमारे गवर्नमेंट ने हमको क्या दिए, बहुत सारी ड्यूटीज़ दिए जो हमको फॉलो करनी चाहिए, बट वी आर नॉट फॉलोइंग इट. नाउ लेट्स सी द नेक्स्ट पिक्चर. हियर सम कन्वर्सेशन हैव बीन मेड through students. Let's revise. The river in our village does not look like a river at all. What an amount of plastic waste. Even if anybody tells me I will never throw any waste in the river. That is all right. But what to do about those defeating sounds? People just don't seem to realize these things while celebrating festivals. We should also be insist on our responsibility as citizens. It is our duty to protect the resources and public property of our country. Yes, it is our duty to protect our resources and public property as well. So, let us start step by step. Let us make a few resolutions. Let us tell girls and boys to go through school. Let us use the different facilities in school responsibly. Let us be proud of our country. Let us participate in the festivals or different religions. Let us celebrate them by avoiding pollution of the environment. Let us use public facilities properly and take good care of the same. Let us perform all the tasks that we have undertaken honestly. At the beginning of the civics section, we got introduced to the goals and characteristics features of the Indian Constitution. We also considered the rights of the Indian citizens and the legal protection guaranteed to these rights by the Constitution. We understood the directive principles of the state policy and the fundamental duties of Indian citizens. Next year, we shall study the administration of our country. So students, I hope you have understood the last chapter of our civics lesson. Please do read once again the above lesson and understand it. If you have any query, you can ask me. Till that, bye bye, take care and complete your notes as well.